Welcome to Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. I'm Steve Swatt with the Sacramento Report. In the next few minutes, we're going to be talking about efforts to throw out the old model of school breakfasts. My guest this segment is Rob Bonta, member of the State Assembly from the East Bay, Alameda. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Mr. Swatt.
So I guess we ought to talk very briefly, I think everybody understands this, briefly how important school breakfasts are.
Yes, thank you. School breakfasts are very important to student achievement. When a student has breakfast and gets the day started in the right way, then they're able to increase their student achievement as well as their behavior, their ability to learn, listen, and be good students and good learners. So we want to maximize that opportunity for as many students as possible, and that's what this bill is about.
Well, a number of districts already have school breakfast programs, but that, I know you call it an old model that's really not working very well.
Yes. There are heavily federally subsidized meal programs in schools, either for breakfast or for lunch. And the model for provision of breakfast has always been to provide breakfast before the school day starts. So that requires busy families, busy parents and kids to get to school almost an hour early sometimes to take advantage of the breakfast. And we know from the data that the uptake, the participation in before school breakfast models is very low. Only about 25% of the students who would qualify are actually getting that breakfast. So our bill provides a different approach.
Well, and you call it the after the bell approach, and that's feeding these kids obviously after the bell.
Yes. So we think it's a practical tweak on a good program to increase participation of more students. And it's a breakfast after the bell. It's breakfast that's provided after the school day starts and the bell rings, and it can be provided in a number of different ways. They're called breakfast in the classroom, where literally you're eating breakfast in the classroom in your first period class or your homeroom. Grab and go, where you're grabbing food during a passing period, during a break or a recess. There's also something called second chance, which is an extended passing period or a mid-morning break to get breakfast. We put all the options on the table as a menu to the schools, and the schools can decide what they decide is the best and most appropriate for their school site and their school district.
I notice you have a long list of supporters, and you're still building your list, and you have advocates, regarding hunger issues and health issues and things like that, and advocates for low-income people. Like you don't have a lot of educators on there, whether it's teachers or school districts. San Francisco Unified is the only one that I noticed. Yeah. Is that an indication that they see this as too burdensome, or is it going to take away classroom time, or they seem to have a problem?
Yeah. Well, I think what's more important is that we don't have opposition letters. So the opposition is small, if it exists at all. We want to get as many members of the education community, the sort of education coalition, on board, and we're working on that. Sometimes when you do something new and you create a change, there's questions. And we're at the very beginning of the legislative process. As we move forward, we hope to answer all those questions and provide answers that'll give comfort to all the stakeholders in the education community, including our teachers, our school districts, and everyone else. And honestly, one of the questions was, what does this do to student instructional time? Right. To many of our educational advocates, and to me, school instructional time, student instructional time is sacred, and you don't want to reduce it, you don't want to infringe upon it, you don't want to supplant it. And so we're providing an amendment as part of our committee hearing tomorrow in the Assembly Education Committee that will make it clear that this bill does not supplant student instruction time or infringe upon it in any way.
Okay, and that might get some of these education organizations on board.
I hope so.
All right. Assemblymember Bonta, thank you very much for coming by. We are out of time. We speak on this for a long time. It's a very important issue. We certainly want to watch the progress of this legislation moving forward, maybe have you back in a few months, and we'll talk about it again.
Thank you, Mr. Swatt. Honored to be here.
And thanks to our viewers also for watching Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. A reminder, you can see this and other interviews on the California channel, also on YouTube, and My Government on Demand. I'm Steve Swatt. Have a great day.